Between the Ribs with host Jonathan Morris, fourth-generation farmer. First-hand insight into farming, faith, and family as only Jonathan can bring. Between the Ribs. Between the Ribs on Florida Man Radio.
What's cracking, everybody? You know who this is. Jonathan Morris here in the studio with Heather Hippopotamus.
Hello.
Good morning, ma'am, or good afternoon, ma'am.
I don't know what time of day it is. I don't even know what day it is.
Yeah, well.
Not the last 2 or 3 weeks of the year, every year. We don't know what day it is.
Okay, unfortunately, I do because of the shop and schedules and orders, and we do a big New Year's Day party. When we don't travel.
Yep, okay.
When we don't travel, and we're doing one this year coming up, we're roasting a pig. If you and Billy and the Chillins want to come, we'll have a big pig out on the spit.
On New Year's
Day.
Yeah, okay. We won't be here. Thank you.
That's
a very nice offer. I can't eat anything
That's right.
with
Heather
a face
is going
on
her first Between the Rib employee vacation. You're going to be gone for a week.
Yeah,
Going to
I
North
guess
Carolina.
so. Yep.
Wow. Yeah, we both were going to take vacation at the same time, and then all my surgeries and everything that happened.
Have you been on your butt long enough?
I wish I wasn't.
I'm just kidding.
No. Now that the testes, gosh, it's hard to sit. I don't want to give anybody a listen.
We don't need any details,
No, they do, because I am a sex figure. I'm a role model. I am a really good-looking man. I'm very humble also, but I'm pretty, I'm just that guy. But right now, I feel like my grandpa, who used to, every once in a while, jump funny in the truck, and I'd be like, Grandpa, what happened? He's like, oh, when you get my age, you'll understand. I was like, understand what? He's like, sometimes you get in the truck wrong when you sit on one of them. I was like, oh, God, I didn't want to know that, Grandpa. So because of all the swelling, I have to be very careful how I sit down. I actually do a center tuck.
No, I can't hear anymore, please.
And it will heal, though, ladies. Don't worry. I don't want anybody getting a bad image of me. My wife's having a hard time right now because we have to do things differently, but,
Okay. Should you probably just cut that whole
No, not cutting nothing. This is real raw dogging radio. It's funny, though. This is how you know you have a good relationship with your wife. And we're going to get into Christmas and Christmas presents and fun stuff. This is how you know you got a great relationship with your wife. When one of your post-op questions to your doctor is, when can I get back to sexual activity with my wife? And he just stares at you. And I was like, that's a serious question, doc. Like, we've gone more without since surgery than we've gone without in the last 20 years. He's like, really? Like, you playing with me? I was like, no, it's kind of, like you wake up in the morning, you take your vitamins. Like, anyways. Hey, man, we have a very healthy relationship.
I'm so happy for you guys.
So this is what he said to me. You ready?
I'm never ready for what comes out your mouth.
He goes, you're probably going to want to take it really slow at first. Like slow motion, slow movement. I was like, oh, okay. I was like, Amy's into that. And he looked at me. I was like, I'm joking with you, Doc. He goes, yeah. He's like, the surgery I did on you, the swelling affects your testicles, but it doesn't mess with the part of your body, and I'm not going to talk about the babesiosis and the other thing, all the muscles that control men's stuff. But he's like, I didn't do anything to mess with that. He's like, so all that should work fine. He's like, but you could really bruise yourself, and it could be sore and it could hurt. I was like, you know what? I'll take those odds. I'm gonna roll the dice. I'll try it. So anyway, I texted Amy.
Has your doctor asked for a follow-up?
Yeah, I go back.
He's like, are you okay?
Yeah, I go back on the 10th. Friday the 10th, I go back. So, it was funny. At first, it was going to be a 1 month, a 30-day follow-up. And then for some reason, and he's a cool doc. He's the type of old-fashioned doc that he walks you up front after. So, some docs, they run in, blah, 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 and they're gone. They're like, just sit here, somebody will be back. And then a PA or an assistant walks you up front, checks you out. He's the kind of a doc that after the nurse gets you in, does your blood pressure, your weight, your height, all this stuff, she gets you in the room, she asks you a bunch of questions, and then she's like, all right, doc will be right in. It takes a long time, which I'm cool with, because he doesn't rush anybody. Everybody gets the same amount of time with him. Dr. Soto, if you ever have to have stomach surgery, hernia surgery, testicle surgery, this guy is jam up. He's in Longwood, Florida. So he comes in with me, he puts all the stuff down, we have a full-on conversation, 15, 20 minutes, we're in the room together, which is crazy. Most doctors are in and out in 3.
Yeah. They don't.
They don't have time for patience, but this guy does. And he saw me the day after Christmas, the 26th, because that we had surgery, and then that's when the post-op was supposed to be. So he did it. It wasn't like, it's Christmas break, man. I'm out on the boat or in the Bahamas. I'll see you, I'm in Aspen. He's seeing patients. So anyways, after it's done, he walks you up front to the desk, and then he tells the girl what he wants done, like standing right next to you. So it's not like you're up at the front counter and you're like, Doc said, she's like, well, I don't know. He didn't put the notes in yet. And then you're standing there waiting on him to put in notes. It's just it's a cool old-fashioned doctor. So we have the conversation in the room, and he mentions a 30-day visit.
Sabbatical? Like,
oh, no, 30-day post-op.
oh, that.
So I had my first post-op. He's like, I'll probably see you in about 30 days. I was like, all right, cool, no big deal. Have a happy new year. And then we go up to the front, and he's getting ready to write on his pad, and you can see his eyebrow scrunch up.
He's like, how do I tell Jonathan to refrain?
And he looks over at me and he goes, you know what? I think I'm going to see you in 2 weeks before 30 days.
Because you're going to pull something.
He's like, you're going to break something. So he changed it from a 30-day appointment to a 2-week appointment. So I thought that was great. That's he cares about me. He wants to check on me. I love it. Must make sure I didn't break something off. So how was your Christmas? Mine was great. I'll get out and say it. Mine was great.
Yeah, we had a nice one. My mom and my new
You
stepdad.
already talking about it? I know you're funny about family sometimes.
Yeah, no, I mean it's fine.
All right.
I got silly string and stockings for my kids and my new stepdad, and sent them all outside to play, and it was adorable.
Really? Yeah, you
So
texted me
cute.
that. I thought that was awesome. I had a visual, of them in the yard just.
Him in his cowboy boots and cowboy hat.
Does he run hunched over? Is he still good shape,
so-
straight up?
So I haven't known him that long. No, he's not super active. I just figured it was silly string. It's whatever.
But he played with the
He
grandkids.
played with them, yeah, which was fun. His other grandkids are much older.
It's a cool ass grandpa.
He does. He's pretty funny. Yeah.
Let me encourage you to do not deny a minute of grandpa time with your young kids.
Never.
Because-
Grandparents are the most special people in the world.
Well, my biological granddads, both of them, I never met. One died the year I was born, before I was old enough to know who he was. The other one died before I was born. So I've heard crazy stories. I know everything about them, but I never known them. Mm-hmm. But Grandpa Dupree, right? And that's what we called him, Grandpa Dupree, because his last name was Dupree. He's the grandpa that raised me. He's the one with all the stories. He's the one that cleared a mountain to marry my grandma.
Right.
He married my grandma when I was like 3. Back then, women didn't go sing along. Mm-mm. My grandpa died 2 years later. Grandma said, let's get it on. It's kind of cool. I told the story about how they met in Miami by accident. He said he fell in love with her, told her he had a piece of property in North Carolina. He just got back from the war, or he won in the war, and he'd clear a piece of property and build her a house.
It was my war. I won, and I won this land.
Yeah. And she said, all right. She said, you go build me a house, and I'll marry you. And they shook on it. And he went back to North Carolina, and I don't know, was it a year, 6 months, 8 months? Him and his war buddies, literally. And this is the camaraderie we don't have today that we need to get back. He called up his buddies that he knew from the war. I think they were in Germany. And
I'll be right there. And they came over and helped build a house.
they cleared an entire top of a mountain.
What?
Yes, cut all the wood down, cleared the mountain, and they built a 3-story house with a basement.
With the wood they cleared?
I that's how the story goes, but I thought wood had to sit and dry a little, but maybe back 50 years ago it didn't. I don't know. I just thought
That ain't your lane.
Yeah, I've never built a wood house, but I guess you know what? When you think about it, think about the people in the old settler days that cut down timber and built log homes.
Right.
They didn't stay out in the cold for a year letting the wood dry. They cut it down and built homes.
Yeah. And there's probably bugs in that wood too, some.
But my grandpa was a good woodsman, so his buddy had a planer. So they cut the woods. There wasn't like raw, rough trees.
Oh, okay. So it wasn't like a log cabin. It was
Well,
lumber.
it's a
They
wood,
made it into.
Yeah, it's a wood. It still stands today.
Right.
It's a wood house built out of trees on the mountain. But when you look at it, the wood's flat.
Right.
And it's stained. Like they sealed it, stained it with something. I don't know, whatever they used back then. I'm not a home
I'm sure
builder.
it's been done since. I'm sure it's been stained and sealed since.
Yes, every year. So every year that was one of my jobs. So whenever you have a real home built, right? Every year, especially up north, you got to go around and drive all the nails back in. Because the winter restricts, the summer sweats, and the nails pop in and out.
That would make me crazy.
No, because I got a penny every 10 nails. That was my job every summer. Every summer when we went to Franklin, I would get, the only scary part was the house was 3 stories tall.
Ooh.
So my grandpa had a rope pulley thing attached to the top of the house.
And Grandma thought that was a good idea?
Yeah, because how else am I supposed to get 30 feet in the air with a hammer? So they would put me in this saddle.
Grandma wasn't doing it, so she sent her grandkids up there.
Yeah, so we had ladders. Well, no, I was the only one. I was the only boy. My sisters and my cousins were all girls, and my little brother was too young.
It
So
still seems like scary.
it was scary, but it made a man out of me. That's why I got stories that people don't have. So we'd use the ladder as high as I could get up on the ladder, and you went plane by plane all the way down, and then he had a thing that he would tie a rope. That the rope was always there, it just stayed there. All right, and then there was a harness that I got in, and they tied me in, and him and my dad would pull the rope, and they'd pull me up, whoop,
Like flying.
and I'd be against the wall, and boop, 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 and then I would swing over, boop, 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 and I'd swing, and that's how I did the top 10 foot of the house.
That almost sounds fun.
I thought it was great because, they're like, well, don't pee on us. You better not get scared. Don't fall out. Don't drop that hammer. There's a lot of rules when you're up there with 2 guys down there drinking coffee below you, holding the rope. And then every once in a while, Grandpa thought it would be funny to let the rope go a little bit. Right as I was getting ready to swing the hammer, he just, whoop, 3 foot of the rope go. But they never dropped me. And he saved me from a black bear one day. So he was a good grandpa.
Okay, what's the black bear story?
He shot at it. Am I allowed to say that on YouTube?
Was it charging for you?
So when my grandpa built the house on the mountain, the way he built it, the basement literally was under the earth. It was under part of the mountain.
Right.
So when you drove up the top of the mountain and you got to the driveway, you saw a door, and then
That was the basement door?
that was the floor door.
Oh, the first floor.
The garage and the stairs there was nothing there. It was just you
Right.
walked in, you went down into the basement, or you went right, and there were stairs that went up,
Gotcha.
and the garage was there.
Right.
All right. On the second floor, there was a porch, and he flattened out a plateau for his garden, and he had the stuff that his sunflowers and where squirrels and all the stuff that he fed, and, the deer would come up. Well, part of what he did in the basement is he ran the heating vents. He dug a hole in the ground and ran the heating vents through the clay and just out on the side of the mountain, and it blew the heat out away from the house.
Okay.
All right, and that's how his dryers and stuff were vented.
Okay, yeah.
All right, and then whatever steam, he had something else for heat, and it vented through a pipe under the ground, and it was like 30 feet off of the house where the mountain kind of crested where the heat came out.
Right.
All right, so we start seeing this black bear. I'm up there one winter. We start seeing this black bear around, and my grandma's like, oh, look at that cool black bear. It never comes up to the house, stays about 30 feet away, but it's beautiful, and it doesn't mess with anybody. Seen black bears before, no big deal. So I'm out playing one day doing my cowboy and Indian things, and I turn the corner, and I'm face to face with a black bear. So I was always told to yell and holler, hey bear, get away, bear. So I panicked, started to run, and then I realized if I run, I'm going to die. So I started screaming and hollering. My grandma was in the kitchen, so she saw it. She came out with 2 pots, beating on the pots, pa, pa, pa. And the bear's kind of trying to run and trying not to run. And my grandpa come out, fired off a shot, and bear kind of scurried down the mountain. And he's like, all right, I don't know if I got him, but he'll never come back. He learned his lesson. Well, the next morning, they're washing grits. I don't know if people do that no more. They're washing grits in the sink. Grits?
Yeah, when they fall down the sink?
No, you have a strainer, a
Yeah,
pot
but
and a
it's like
strainer.
sand.
My grandpa washed his grits 3 times. That was his deal. He never
Okay,
ate
I don't
grits.
know how that works. Continue.
But that's not like he didn't have quick grits like the one in the grocery store today. Like they were real grits, Mountain Stone grits. So he washed
Apparently
them, got
never
his
seen
stuff.
any.
Oh, they're good. You got to cook them right. So the grits today take like 10 minutes to cook. My grandpa's grits took like an hour and a half to cook.
Oh,
But that's who he was. That's the way he ate grits. The bear comes back, and the bear's looking crazy, like it's looking at the house and it's coming up. So we all go outside, and Grandpa took,
So what'd you do with the bear? Did you eat
He
it?
sold it to a Skinner.
Okay.
And the Skinner came and got it. And yeah, we did. He brought us some meat back because it was the greasiest. It was so greasy and fatty, and it was almost disgusting. But then my grandma felt bad because like they thought it was their fault that it happened because as we start investigating, are there more bears? Did she have cubs? Was she a mama? We go down, and she had built a den where the two vents came out of the mountain. And she was just up there as the heat came out. That's how she was hanging out. She didn't hibernate. Well, there wasn't no snow yet, so it was still kind of early. But she was living, she had built her a den right there 30 feet from the house off the crest of the mountain, so you couldn't see her unless she stood up. She was in that den where the two air vents, the heat vents came out. And then
Living her life.
my grandma felt really bad. She's like, oh, it's our fault. She was at the house.
It was your fault.
It was my fault.
It was your fault.
Yeah.
It's okay.
Anyways.
Sorry, Jonathan.
I had a great Christmas too. How do our stories grow and walk away and just go down the park?
You said to tell you when you had 1 minute. Go ahead.
Do I have 1 minute?
No, but go ahead.
No, it's fine. We got a lot to get to. Happy New Year's coming. We got the astonishing way New Year's resolutions have changed from when we were younger and the things people want to do this year. And also Grandpa Joe Biden, who only cares about family and faith. He was really, really busy on Christmas Eve. Couldn't make the family dinner. We'll be right back.
You know, well, I'm a chicken fried